us about how you sent your tape, how that worked, you coming out here, you meeting the producers. Tell us about that process.
Sure. Okay, so I was doing a play in Louisville. I was playing a Jewish Confederate soldier in this play, and I had a massive beard for it. And anyway, I got an audition through my agent to send in tapes for Raul's part. It was a guest part.
And Raul is your castmate.
Raul is my castmate who plays Richie on the show. And that part was a little too hood for me, you know? I didn't really give off the right vibe, so they moved me over to the series regular track. And Agustin at the time was Venezuelan, had a dialect. He was trying to get his green card because he wanted to be an artist in San Francisco, but also came from an upper class, wealthy Venezuelan family. And I thought, oh, okay, there are a couple things here that I can tap into. So I sent in 4 or 5 tapes for that, and then they asked me for more tapes. So I sent in more tapes. You know, basically the process is they'll send you sides, which is 3 or 4 pages of a scene, and I filmed maybe 3 or 4 scenes before I finally got to Skype with the director and the casting director, and they wanted to bring me in to go do the screen test. So we closed the show on a Saturday. I went home to New York on a Sunday, watched the Super Bowl, made love to my wife, and then Monday morning I flew out to San Francisco, or to LA. We had the screen test Tuesday and Wednesday, and they do this thing called chemistry reads, where the 3 guys who were testing for the 2 other leads, Patrick's part and Dom's part, and then the 2 other guys who were testing as well as me for my part, we just mixed and matched for 2 days. And then Friday I booked the part, and my life kind of changed like that, like you said.
Yes, like that. That's wonderful. Now I know people are dying to find out, well I am anyway, about the physicality of the role. I know you're an actor, but tell us, is it awkward?
What do you mean?
You know, the physicality with the other
Oh,
guys?
the sexuality. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I think you guys can speak to this as well. But for me, it's not awkward for me. As an actor, you're supposed to inhabit the role without any judgment and you know, commit to it 125%. And so for me, it isn't really awkward. You know, my wife supports me, just like she's an actress as well, so she understands the nature of the business. And I enjoy that process of transformation. So, I mean, it is, you know, you do show up on set and you're wearing a little, like, what they call the cock sock, right? You put your junk inside a little bag and you're basically naked, you know, and that can be a nervous situation. But it's not because of the storytelling, it's not because of the nature of the role. It's just a vulnerable thing to do. If it was with a woman, actually, I'd probably be even more nervous.
What about the reaction? Have you had a chance to get a reaction from Latinos? Because, you know, a lot of us, there's still that big macho thing. And even if you're not Latino, there's still this macho thing going.
No, it's embedded in our culture.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so have you had any reaction like that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm from Miami, and so a lot of my family members have been mostly supportive. But I have heard, like, a cousin of mine was like, you know, he got a new TV, and he was like, I'm so stoked, I got surround sound, I can't wait to see you on HBO. And then he called me after episode 2, and he was like, I can't watch this show, you know? And it's you know, we're dealing with frank sexual situations and with these gay men, you know, and it's something, like you said, that it's embedded in the culture, and it's a hard thing to conquer. But I think what's so beautiful about the show is that we're telling these 3-dimensional stories in a really present and alive way. And I think hopefully we're part of stemming the tide, or changing the tide rather, so that people can understand that these are 3-dimensional guys trying to live their lives, just like a straight person.
And one of the interesting things is, you were telling me, first of all, there is a writer who is a Latina, Tanya Sriracha, on the show. She's a story editor. But you were also telling me that you were able to work with the producers to change. That's unheard of, really. Like, there's a few people that do that, and I don't know if they were welcoming, because usually you don't tell the producer, you know what, this probably guy doesn't work this way, and you were able to do that.
Yeah, not in that way, but what happened was, you know, the nature of the role, the way that I described it earlier about him being Venezuelan, he had a dialect, getting his green card, and here I am talking to the head writer, Michael. We're chatting on the phone about, you know, he wanted to get to know me better, and so we're chatting a little bit, and then I said, hey, Michael, you know, there's something that's kind of been troubling me a little bit about the pilot. And he said, yeah, go ahead and share it. And I said, well, here we are. You're a gay man who's committed to telling these three-dimensional stories about gay men. But when we're telling this specific Latin man story, we're doing it through a two-dimensional lens, a story that we've already heard before. Not that it isn't a story worth telling, but we've heard it before. And I thought, well, here we have a prime opportunity to change the game. And if we're doing it for, if we're doing it in terms of sexuality, we should be doing it in terms of race as well. And, you know, I eloquently made my point, and he took it back to the producers, and they rolled with it. So they ended up changing it. They ended up changing the character to Cuban American, using my own dialect, you know, which is sort of non-existent right now. And also it was fun to be able to tap into some things that I'm already, you know, being from Miami, being Cuban American. I'm not upper class, but I went to that Jesuit high school for 7 years, so I was around that a lot. So it's an energy that I know how to tap into. But it was great that they were open enough, right, to make that change.